Wife Material Podcast. It's not your body, and it's not your choice. So many things I can say about this, right? The whole idea of, just the term, your body, your choice, right? Right? It's like, well, technically, it's your body. But when you are part of a society, your body, your life, your existence belongs to society, right? You were created, obviously through sex, in a society to participate in society, which is why we have laws and rules, right, that existed for thousands of years that you still have to follow after you're born. After you're born, you have to follow these rules, these laws, because it's part of society. Now, if you don't want to follow these rules and laws, right, you don't want to be part of society, that is fine. That is an option. You could not be part of society, but that means you have to leave society. You cannot be in the environment, in the area which a civilization, a society exists, and think you can do whatever you want. It doesn't work that way. You are part of the society, the community, right? You have to go along with what everybody says, right? It's the idea of together, united we stand, divided we fall, right? Together we have to come to a mutual agreement. The reason why murder is illegal, right? It's wrong, is because we as a society, we as a community, right, said it was wrong. Because tomorrow we can make murder illegal. Is it moral? Is it good? Would people agree with it? Like, obviously, there's gonna be a majority of people, that's not gonna agree with the idea of murder being legal tomorrow, right? Like a Purge movie type scenario, right? Oh, murder is legal for 24 hours or some shit like that, right? A lot of people are not going to be okay with that, especially if they're the ones getting murdered, right? No one wants to be murdered, right? So the irony of the fact that it's somebody, just in general, just the idea of if they made murder illegal, then that means somebody else can choose for me not to live, right? They can murder me, right? They can choose for me not to live, and that's not right, right? We like to believe that that's not right. That also applies to abortions, right? Now, I'm of the small minority that says until you're ready to have kids, you shouldn't even be doing the physical activity that leads to having kids in the first place. You shouldn't be having sex, or at least vaginal sex, until you're ready to have kids. All right? Use some sex toys, condoms. There's female condoms, there's male condoms. There's birth control. You could get your tubes tied. And if I'm right, you can get them untied. So tie them up when you want to, live your best life, quote unquote. But then untie them when it's, time to tie the knot or something like that, right? If you want to go that route. I'm more of the traditional route. I'd rather you not be using your body. Rephrase that. I would prefer you not to be letting a whole bunch of guys use your body if you're going to be my wife, or you're going to be anybody's wife. That's why it's important to make the decision of being a wife ahead of time, long time ago, right? When you're young, so that way all the things you did in your past is for the purpose of becoming a wife. And that's if you want to do that. If you don't want to be a wife, then obviously just do whatever you want, right? Because whatever you do will only affect you, and hopefully you don't regret it at the end of your life. But if you want to be a wife, well, hopefully you came to that realization at a young age, so that way you can prepare for it, so you can make plans. Because think about, a lot of people, when they're young, they think about their future, and they think about what they want to be when they get old. They'll be like, I want to be a cop, or the president, or a lawyer or something, right? A doctor or a teacher. They think about what they want to be when they get older. And ironically, most males and females, right, when they're kids, tend to want to do the whole marriage thing when they get older anyway. But the older they get to a certain point in their life, usually in their teens and stuff, where they start getting, well, I'm going to say it, brainwashed. And then the idea of, maintaining your virginity, right? Waiting for the right person, get married first and whatnot, gets thrown out the window, and it's just like, here, a whole bunch of free condoms and quote unquote be safe, wink wink. But it's like, but you're promoting the idea of non-marital sex by giving out free condoms at young age. High school obviously is what I'm referring to. And I get the logic of, well, they're going to do it anyway, might as well make sure they're doing it safely. Well, if they were raised right, they wouldn't be doing it at all, right? It'd be rare for them to be in high school thinking about, trying to have sex or actually having sex, right? It should be rare. It shouldn't be, a common thing. Just like the idea of people when they turn 21, they immediately want to start drinking alcohol as if that's something you're supposed to do when you're 21. Oh, I'm 21. It's my right to drink alcohol. No, it's not. What's next? It's your right to drink bleach? Think about how stupid that sounds. And alcohol is only a couple chemical compounds away from actually being chlorine bleach. So I don't know why people think that drinking alcohol is a good thing or it's a thing an adult does. No, that's what a dumb adult does, yes. An irresponsible adult drinks alcohol, I agree, and cigarettes and does drugs and a lot of other bad things for their health. This is why at some point in your life you'll realize, I need to stop drinking, smoking, doing dumb shit, right? Being, reckless, and should start eating healthy, start exercising, right? All the things you should be doing, you'll start doing it late in life. The old saying, better late than never, right? But if you're trying to live your best life, then you're supposed to be doing all that since you were young until you're old and die, right? You should be living your best life, which means eating healthy, exercising, being a decent human being. Try not to be a piece of shit, right? Try to get along with people. And the irony is that women, right? Women of the past, and it's, I haven't seen real women in a long, long time. Sometimes I see a glimmer of hope. Sometimes I see, real women out there. From time to time, women, that definitely are wife material. But a lot of times I see what I say is female because that's all they are. They have the female anatomy, right? But they don't have the woman mindset. And since they don't have the woman mindset, they're not a woman, they're just females. Which is why I use the term female a lot more than I use the term women. Because I don't want to disrespect the term women by just labeling irresponsible, childish, low IQ, I said it, low IQ females, right? I don't want to group females and real women, right? Women in the same group because they're not. Just like how women be like, or females I should say, be like, oh, men ain't shit, all men this, all men that. It's like, no. Men are awesome. Fuck boys, man childs, incels, misogynistic, fuck turds and shit like that, pieces of shit, human beings that just so happen to be the male species, right? This also applies to females as well, of course, right? Them, yeah, they're not men, so stop classifying them as men. Stop saying men this, men that. No, it's boys this, boys that, man child this, incel that. That makes sense because they are not real men. Right? Real men are the ones that most guys want to be. They look up to men. They be like, oh, he's a man, I want to be like him. Right? Men is something you become. Being a man is a lot like being Superman, right? Being a woman is a lot like being Wonder Woman, right? You're super, you're amazing, you're the best of us, right? Just like how there used to be the a warrior class, back in ancient Rome or in any ancient society where you had a warrior race, right? A warrior class, I meant. You have different classes, right? You have obviously the the royal class and the warrior class, right? And the warrior class, you become a warrior. You're not born a warrior, right? You become a warrior. Now, granted, let's say your parents are both warriors, right? Or your father's in the warrior class, and you have a mother, right? Obviously, so your father is part of the warrior class, but doesn't mean by default you're warrior class. You have to be trained to become a warrior. So just because your father is a warrior doesn't mean you're a warrior. Just because your father is a man doesn't mean you're a man by default. No, you have to actually earn it, and he's supposed to teach you that. That's one of the important things, right? He's supposed to teach you that. That's why it's important for the fathers, guys who have gotten women pregnant, and the woman kept it, supposed to, do the best they can to be in the child's life as much as possible. But of course, with the law and stuff like that in society, makes it hard for guys to be in kids' lives like they should, just because the mommy has issues with the father, which is unfortunate. The way it should be is definitely the way it should be is that if there's going to be a separation, there's going to be custody and stuff, the father should have custody of the boys, and the mother should have custody of the daughters. That's the way it should be, at least. To make sure that the father is teaching the boy to be a man, and the mother is teaching the daughter to be a man. Don't have the mother try to do both. Try to teach the boy to be a man, because she can't. As much as she thinks she can, she can't. She can't. Because she doesn't live the life of a man to even think that she can teach, a boy to be a man. You don't have the experiences that we do. You don't know how we feel, like our feelings, like how certain situation makes us feel, right? How the cold weather makes us feel, the hot weather. You don't know how it affects us biologically, because you don't have our biology. You have a similar biology, but not the same. So you don't know how it feels to deal with, physical stress, mental stress, right? At the level of a man, you know how it feels for a woman, but you don't know how it feels for a man. So those details are important. Just like I rather not try to attempt to raise a daughter by myself. Obviously, I would want a female influence. I do my best. I've done pretty well for my younger sisters, but I still try to make sure there's a female influence somewhere in their lives, because I can't teach them how to be a female, right, or how to be a woman. I can only teach them how to survive life and how to be strong and tough, so that way they can survive in this world and be able to protect themselves, keep themselves safe, first and foremost. I've said this many times in the podcast about the importance of women learning self-defense. You have to survive on this planet as much as we do. Now, you benefit from being with a man, right? And he'll, be able to provide you the protection, right? The security, all that good stuff. Be able to provide you the knowledge. Hopefully you're willing to learn how to, how to do things, like fix things, and, and how to start a fire if you need to start a fire. God forbid you end up lost in the woods somewhere. At least you learn some survival skills, which is important to learn. And I, do my best to try to teach people that. And there's tons of videos on YouTube about that. So ladies, you don't have to have a man teach you it directly. You can go on YouTube and learn it yourself and have those skills. And that would be useful. Just like you can learn self-defense on YouTube, and the list goes on and on. What I'm saying is learn these things for your own sake. Learn how to cook, how to clean, so forth and so forth, just for you at least. If you find a man, you want to do the whole marriage thing and whatnot, well, at least now you have a whole bunch of stuff on your resume, right? A whole bunch of stuff you could bring to the table. So if he does actually the question, what do you bring to the table? You can literally bring up the fact that you have, you have self-defense training, right? You have survival training, and the list goes on of all the things that you're good at. You're good with money because you learn accounting, right? You learn how to do taxes and this, that, and there. So you can always get more money from tax refunds. Like, that's some useful shit for yourself first and foremost, but it's useful to bring that to a relationship, right? To bring that to your husband, just like you expect him to bring stuff. Because if your husband just so happens to be a billionaire, well, he's clearly bringing in billions of dollars into the table, obviously, among many other things that he's probably bringing connections, friends, people that you might want to associate with, celebrity friends, maybe. You don't know. Shit, the president, you don't know. Until until you do know, right? Until you find the right guy that has all those types of connections, right? But the thing is that it's like, if guys have to do a lot to even be interesting enough for you to notice them, you gotta make sure that you're worthy enough for them to keep. You can't come to them, looking pretty and that's it, and then be like, oh, okay, I got nothing other than my looks. It's like, damn, your looks will fade eventually. So for a while, yeah, it'll be great to be with you, but then eventually your looks are going to fade. And not only that, you might start getting annoying, right? Like, because you have very little, you bring very little to the relationship. To just think of relationship as friendship. Too many people want to separate the idea of, of marriage and, being boyfriend, girlfriend, separate from the idea of being a friend, right? It's like, no, it's a friend you choose to spend the rest of your life with and, have sex, right? One of the many things you can do, right? And have kids and whatnot. So it's like, think of it as like a friendship. You can also think of it like a business, right? You're trying to get hired. You're trying to get this job, the job of a wife. You want to get all the benefits that come with it, and there are benefits. Make sure you get the guy who is going to provide the benefits, right? Who's going to give you the benefits of being a wife, and vice versa. You have to make sure you're beneficial, right? That means you have to be a good worker, aka a good wife. Not saying you have to do a lot of physical activity per se, but if you have to, you have to, right? But because there's so many conveniences, we have a lot of technology and services and resources out here that makes life easy. So being a wife is a lot easier now than it used to be, over 60 years ago. And, it's just the thing of like, I know I went off of the whole body choice thing, but it's just the misunderstanding of this, like, it's like, yeah, it's technically your body, right? You're inside the body, right? You're controlling the body, right? So it's your body, but your body's not for you anyway. It's meant for your husband, right? Or your boyfriend, whatever. It's meant for you to give to someone else, right? You're supposed to give your body, soul, heart to this person, and they're supposed to do the same for you. That's the whole purpose, right? That's why it's known as a holy matrimony, right? Through sickness and health and this and the third. A lot of those things are obviously ignored. Most people just think of like marriage as a title. It just sounds cool, and money. Well, that's typically what females think, that marriage is a title and money, and that's it. Which is why they have no problem with divorce, because money, right? If divorce had no financial benefit to it, women wouldn't, or females I should say, wouldn't be getting divorced as often. Because remember, women, they choose better. Women become wives. Women don't get divorced. Because one, they chose the right guy to spend the rest of their life with. So till death to them part, and they believe in that. They're going to have kids with the right guy, not just any guy. Just like they're going to hold out, sex for the right guy, not just any guy. That's having standards, Not just any dick will do. So that's why it's important to have respect for yourself. If you respect yourself, you will keep yourself, your body, right? Your body, your choice, right? That kind of stuff. You would keep it to yourself as much as possible until you're ready to give it to someone else, which is supposed to be your husband, right? Your life partner. That's the whole idea of a husband, is that that's the last man you will ever be with. That's the way it's supposed to be. Just like you're supposed to be the last one he's supposed to be with. Right? Ideally, let's be real specific. Ideally, that's the situation you want to be in. Now, if there's different arrangements, people want to do different stuff like open relationships and open marriages or whatever they want to call it, or harem, all that other stuff. To each their own, having multiple wives or multiple husbands, however way y'all decide to do all that extra shit, if y'all want to go that route. But the most basic, simplest version is, a husband and a wife. Typically they're virgins, and they get together, and then they agree to reproduce, raise the children, to keep society going forward. That makes them the family class, right? Because, just like how you have the warrior class, which tends to be, responsible for the security of a society. You have the political class, which is responsible for a lot of the decision making, a lot of the managing, a lot of the, making sure everybody, everybody can eat, right? Everybody's good, everybody's safe, right? I mean, ideally, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to have a group of people who are responsible for making sure everything goes according to plan, and have plans and constantly make plans and constantly improving the plans. Then you're supposed to have a group of people who protect everybody else, right? Like military, police, that kind of stuff, right? Security. And then you're supposed to have another group of people whose job is to make sure there's, food. There's always food, right? The farmers and stuff like that. And the list goes on and on of groups that society needs. And a lot of people are so getting into the individualism, so selfish, and that's where you get this whole "my body, my choice." When it's like your body is part of society, and if you're going to be part of society, you're going to benefit from society. You have to contribute to society. You have to pay society back, right? As much as you feel you're entitled to money and to trips and Netflix and TikTok and cell phones and Uber, or having your own car, or having a house, and as much as you feel entitled to all this stuff that society provides you, that society has made available to you, it's kind of ironic to feel you don't owe society anything back in return, so much so that you feel like, well, society owes me all of these benefits, all these awesome things, but I'm not going to do the thing that I'm biologically designed to do, and that's to reproduce. I'm going to have sex for fun. I'm not going to have sex for what it's for its main purpose, which is to reproduce, which benefits the human race. As much as you hear females out there talking about how much they how much they, in history, they contribute to society and this, that, and there, it's like, yes, female, right, women have contributed greatly to the world men have built, right? Have been there by our side historically, through all the good times and the bad times. Yes, but the thing is that their contributions, which we value and respect very highly, is the values and the contributions that modern women, or feminists, I should say, don't contribute. Feminist women are against the idea of reproducing for the purpose. Of course. Anyway, reproducing. Right? They don't think they need to reproduce, or that they have to reproduce. That's where you get into this whole choice thing. So then after a while, you start realizing that it's not about health care. It's not about equality or rights and any of that. No, it's about just the ability to say you have the choice. It's more about the choice, right? Or saying you have the choice than the actual reason why you have the choice, right? You talk about pro-choice. You want to be able to choose if you want to get the abortion or not, when logically you shouldn't be getting pregnant in the first place, right? You shouldn't be, pregnancy is not accidental, right? As in, it doesn't happen. You don't go to sleep, wake up, and then suddenly you're pregnant. You're not the Virgin Mary. You don't get pregnant for no reason. You did something to get pregnant. So accountability matters. Since you did something that led you to get pregnant, you already made your choice. You did the thing that got you pregnant. That's your choice. Another thing is, women, females, right? Biologically, you're born, you're pro-life. Men biologically are pro-choice. Women are designed to get pregnant and reproduce, aka pro-life. Men, right? We have to give you our seed, right, in order for you to get pregnant, right? So we have to be able to get to that point of being able to get you pregnant, which is your choice. If you open your legs, that's a choice. You open your legs, you're pro-life. That is the whole purpose of that. That physical activity is pro-life. This whole, pro-choice, this pro-choice. No, you're not pro-choice. That's why it's obvious that you want a choice more than you want the reality of the choice. There's some females that said that they they wouldn't use the choice, right? They wouldn't get an abortion, but they agreed that it should be an option, right? That the choice should be available. Not that they're going to use the choice, they just want it to be available. Further proving that, yeah, y'all don't care about the choice itself. You just want the choice. So it's more of a political thing. It's more of you just want something, which is very selfish and ignorant, right? You don't want it because it's something that you should have. You want it just because you want it, not because it actually should be a thing. Because guys in general will be supporting the idea if it made sense, if it was logical. It's like, yeah, of course this makes sense. Of course we should, have abortions as a normal, activity, procedure that you can go to a hospital and receive. And then that's it. Guys would be all for it if it made sense, right? If it was logical, if it was actually something that should be happening. The thing is, what's supposed to be happening is ladies are not supposed to be getting pregnant. We created, whether you want to believe, condoms, right? Birth control, female condoms, the tube, vasectomy, tube ties, that kind of stuff, all that stuff. Let's say all that stuff was created by women, right? Say women created those concepts. Now, if I'm right, if I Google it right now, it's more likely a whole bunch of guys created that stuff. But let's go with the hypothetical that women created it. So women created solutions to the whole getting pregnant, accidentally, because things happen. Guy and a girl by themselves, one thing leads to another, drinks were involved, YOLO. Okay, if we're going to go that route, one thing led to another. Okay, well, there are tons of stuff that was created to, prevent or reduce drastically the possibility of getting pregnant, so that way you don't have to make a choice after the fact. The choice to not get pregnant should be the first choice. If anything, that should be the choice. If you want choice, which you already have, is not to get pregnant. You have the choice to not have sex. You have the choice not to get pregnant by actually using stuff that prevents you from getting pregnant if you're going to have sex. You have the choice of not using your vagina. You don't have to let a guy use your vagina for sex. You can use anything else, any other parts of your body for sex. You don't have to use the vagina. You don't have to have vaginal sex, right? Your body, your choice. I like saying that a lot. So live up to it. Live up to your body, your choice, which means it's your fault, your responsibility. If you get pregnant, even though we have so many ways you cannot get pregnant, including not letting the guy use your vagina for sex, right? You can use any other part of your body for sex. Guys don't need vagina for sex, right? So that's something you should consider. What else? But ultimately, it's like you have things you can use to prevent pregnancy, right? No one's trying to say that women have to get pregnant. Obviously, pregnancy is a choice, right? You should plan to get pregnant. It shouldn't be accidental. Right? To me, it's the opposite of intelligent. A real woman doesn't accidentally get pregnant ever. There's no such thing as a woman getting pregnant accidentally. Because a woman actually makes decisions. That's what makes a woman a woman. She's better than a female. A female, however, right, would make bad decisions, would make mistakes, would do the wrong thing, would get pregnant, and then complain about it, even though she did the thing that gets you pregnant in the first place, which is sex. That's how sex works. It's supposed to get you pregnant. It's not supposed to do the opposite. And then there's STDs. Most people don't even mention that. Most people don't even bring that up. And that's a health thing. That's something women, females, right, should be more concerned with. They should be more concerned with getting, sick, getting an STD, way more than they should be worrying about pregnancy, because one, we have ways to prevent pregnancies, but we don't have that many ways to prevent STDs other than not having sex, right? The solution to not getting pregnant is the same solution as not getting an STD, and that's not having sex. Masturbation is an option, ladies. Remember that. Sex toys exist for a reason. Condoms, birth control, and the list goes on. That's the annoying thing, right? Is that we, right, as a society, created solutions to problems, but we still have people having the problems, and like, how is that possible? How are people still making the same mistakes as if we don't have condoms, which are cheap? You can get condoms for free if you go to like a hospital or something. Like, there's places you can get condoms for free. Shit, if you're a guy, one of your friends probably got an extra condom that they're not using, or probably won't use for a long while, so they'll gladly give it to you, because it's better than just letting it falling apart, right? It expiring. There is a limit. There is an expiration for a lot of these condoms. So, shit. I've been in some scenarios where it's like, gave somebody a condom, right? And I know they're grateful for it, right? Because again, we have solutions to problems. What's ironic is now we're going to have male birth control, which I expect, because now we're putting the responsibility on guys, aka men, right? As women like to say, men gotta solve these problems. Men are the problem, so they gotta solve it. It's like, make that make sense. Men are the problem, but you also want men to solve problems. How make that make sense? That don't make sense. If we are the problem, we can't be the solution, right? So logically, you should be the solution if men are the problem. But, well, anyway. So back to reality. In reality, since men aren't the problems, men are actually problem solvers. So that means we are the solution to many problems. Of course, we have solutions to many problems. And we're doing our best to try to solve these problems. And this is why we created, that's why I, definitely expect a lot of guys, especially in, on podcasts, YouTube videos, TikTok videos, promoting the male birth control pill. We'll see how that works out, to greatly greatly decrease the choice. Because even I was telling guys, in some of my, videos and podcasts and stuff like that, about the whole your nut, your choice. Since women want to talk about their body, their choice, well, guys have the choice to nut or not, right? It's your nut, so you choose. If you're not willing to take a risk of getting a woman pregnant, or a female pregnant, I should say, then don't, right? As in, don't nut. Try to keep your seed away from the vagina area. You could even go the not using her vagina at all for sex. Just use every other part of her body for sex, and leave it at that. It doesn't take that much stimulation for a guy to release his seed, so you don't need a vagina to release your seed. And the smart thing to do wouldn't be not to take the risk and get her pregnant. Because there's some scenarios where some females said they took their birth control pill when they actually didn't, so they lied. A guy, released the Kraken and ended up getting the female pregnant, and she tried to act like she don't know what happened, but she knows what happened, because she deliberately made sure she was fertile, and she made sure she didn't take the birth control pill, so that way she could get pregnant. So we have those types of females, the bad females, right? So to help the human race, not just guys, but the human race, we gotta give advice to both sides. Give advice to guys and give advice to gals, right? And on the guys' side is don't trust females when it comes to birth control, contraceptions, right? Condoms and stuff like that. You take care of all that. Wrap it up, as they say, right? Wrap it up. Put on a condom. If the birth control pill thing becomes available, take it. Do everything you can to protect yourself. Be accountable. Guys, on average, whether they're immature guys or a man, they're more likely going to be accountable more than females, unfortunately. Women are more accountable. Yes, women are accountable. That's what we love. We love women because they're accountable. So females that are accountable tend to be women. Right? So we love women because they're accountable. They're responsible. They don't make irresponsible decisions to even be in a situation where they have to make a choice. They shouldn't have to be. You shouldn't have to be in a choice to, making a choice if you are going to have, or if you're going to allow a child that you just created continue to have a life. That should never be a choice. You would think, females in general, females and women in general will be against the idea of abortion. Right? But the world is a little bit different than it should be, because I know women of the past would definitely be against it. They'd definitely be against it. Right? Plus, women of the past wouldn't even allow themselves to be in a position to accidentally get pregnant. Because one, they would be with a husband, so they'll be having sex. And if pregnancy happens, it's a blessing, not a curse. Not a, oh, I got it, my body, my choice. No, it's our baby. That's how it's supposed to be. Y'all had sex, y'all made a baby, it's y'all baby. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And it ain't supposed to be no body choice bullshit. Just, pointing out historical facts, right? How things used to be. Just because females nowadays want to do things differently, you got the modern woman, which is just another way of saying female, because it's just a modified version of a woman, right? It's trying to rewrite what makes a woman. So that's why we call it modern women. We don't say just women in general, because women is traditional. It's the old-fashioned way of doing things. Being a man is the old-fashioned way of doing things. So we have the modern man and the modern woman, which are modifications of, those traditional ways. But the traditional ways worked. It's been proven for thousands and thousands of years that the traditional man and woman roles, right, worked for the human race. But the modern man and modern woman dynamic is different, right? It's the new way of doing things. So and we're already giving it a try. We're already trying to see if it works, if we can change, the old ways of doing things and try things differently. But we're seeing that it's not really working. And there's still people trying to make it work. Well, good luck, but it ain't really working. Which is why you got podcasts like this and so forth and so forth, trying to teach people about the past, right? The traditional, way of being a human being, and then let y'all, the audience, decide if y'all want to do things the old-fashioned way or want to keep trying this experimental modern way of doing things. This feminist way of doing things, right? This, whatever way, different way of life y'all want to try. You want to try things differently. All right, well, we're willing to give it a try and see if it works. But if it don't work, we definitely need to go back to the way things used to be, which is why we got podcasts like this, sharing the old knowledge, the old information, and keeping the old information available, accessible, so that we have the option. Because one thing I know about feminism is they've been eliminating the option of being a wife, as opposed to adding the option of being a strong, independent woman or being a wife. They took the wife part out and just make it where it's just, feminism. It's about being strong, independent. I don't need no man. It's like, that doesn't sound like a choice. Because I don't hear any other options. All I hear is just be strong, independent, and don't need no man. And that's it. And that's just feminism. It's not about choices. It's not about women's rights, because it doesn't sound like they have the right to do anything other than be strong, independent, don't need no man. Make that make sense. Think about that, ladies. This affects you, because men have choices. Men, right? As in, men always had the choice to be strong, independent, don't need no one, or have a wife, be a husband, right? But the funny thing is, historically, women also had the same option. They could be a wife or they could be single, right? And do whatever they want. Typically, working a job. Now, the job might not be super amazing or glorious, might not be the president of the United States of America, right? Your job might have been, a secretary or a cashier or something, right? It might not sound super awesome and glamorous like being the CEO of a company, but it still was a job. It paid your bills. It paid for your lifestyle, your single lifestyle. If you wanted a better life, then you just chose a great man who has a great life, and then you lived within his great life. That's how it used to be. So you had the choice of living an independent life or being married. That's how it used to be. But then feminism kicked in, and it's like, nope, screw being a wife, just be independent. Just work for corporations, work for these companies, do what the government tells you to do, always, and buy things, and feel that money is important. Don't get me don't get me started on the whole money thing and how it's not real and all this other stuff and how it's a form of slavery, and the list goes on, right? Let's just focus on doing better, ladies, for yourself. Be happier. If we didn't care about your happiness, because we care, because y'all humans, first and foremost, you're human beings, regardless of your gender. You're a human being, so we care about y'all happiness, y'all well-being, as much as we care about our own happiness and well-being, which is why you have guys out here talking about what women can do to be better. Yes, you can say, oh, but there's a lot of guys we see out here, saying, talking about the, women bad, women do this, women do that. It's like, well, women ain't perfect. Either are men, right? Or I should say, females ain't perfect, males ain't perfect, right? The human race ain't perfect, right? Obviously. So, of course, there's going to be a whole bunch of negative things being said about both genders, but that's just the reality of the world. We're not perfect, so of course there's going to be some negatives. The idea is to reduce the negative talks, right? Reduce the fact that people are saying, females are doing this. They're out here having, multiple baby daddies and blah, blah, blah. Well, ladies, stop having multiple baby daddies. I'd rather hear that. I can respect a female, right? I can respect a female, right, more who had two husbands, right? She married twice, right? It didn't work out, but she had two husbands, right? So she divorced twice. I respect a female who divorced twice more than a female who has two baby daddies, right? And that's all she ever had was just baby daddies. She never got to the marriage part. She didn't get married first and then have kids. I respect a woman who at least got to the marriage part, then had kids. I respect her more than I would respect a female who, young and dumb, and all the excuses they like to use to justify and make themselves sound like victims, like something bad happened to them instead of them doing the bad thing to themselves, right? Oh, I have two baby daddies. It's their fault. No, it's yours. It's your fault. You chose them. You let them get you pregnant. You kept the kids, even though there's options to prevent, the pregnancies, right? Now y'all want the choice to fix it after the fact, and it's like, why don't you prevent it in the first place, right? It's almost like you want somebody to come up to you, shoot you, and then after they shoot you, something gets done about it. Why don't you just not get shot in the first place, right? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to prevent something bad from happening to you, right? Just like it'd be a good idea not to jump into a shark tank and get eaten by a shark if you just didn't jump in the shark tank. Don't complain that, oh man, it should make something that if I jump into the shark tank, there's something that kills the shark so the shark don't kill me. Or like, what? No, just don't jump in the shark tank. Don't put yourself in danger in the first place. Don't put yourself in a position where you'll get pregnant. Literally, you know what position I'm talking about. Don't lay on your back and open your legs. That's the position. Don't put yourself in a position that gets you pregnant. It's just that simple. But anyway, on the next episode, ladies,